shifting my mindset, we have definitely passed those numbers. And every year since I have been coaching, I have consistently increased my sides, my GCI. This will be my first month ever in my career that I will hit 200 GCI in 1 month.
Welcome back to Life at 10 where we inspire you to live at the pinnacle of your ability and purpose. My name is Garrett Fry. I've got Matt Benelli, and we have another amazing guest with us today. We have Andrea Tuell with the group in Fort Collins, Colorado. Andrea, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so excited to have you back on with us. We've interviewed Andrea in the past, but Andrea, this is the first time you're with us at Life at 10, and I am so grateful to be able to talk about your story, talk about how your approach is to business, talk about being a mom and raising kids and also running an amazing business while trying to also keep control of your husband who's also running a business, building a business. We have so much to talk about today. And then also QR codes. We're going to dive into that today and talk about how you're using those in your business. So good morning.
Good morning.
Well,
hey, Andrea. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
Well, so let's, I mean, some people may know you from when we've interviewed before, but let's kind of get a little bit of baseline here. Your background in real estate, you know, where you're currently working right now, a little bit of your market. Do you want to share just kind of where you're coming from right now and what got you here?
Sure. So, I was raised in real estate. My dad was a developer as well as a CPA. So, he is very analytical. My brother, we are 17 months apart. He's my older brother. He is a developer and commercial broker. And so then I went the residential route. So we just cover all the things in our family. Just runs in our blood.
You really are a real estate family.
We are. This is my 21st year at the group in Fort Collins, Colorado. So Northern Colorado is my jam. Fort Collins, Windsor, Timnath, Loveland, Meade, all of those areas I love.
There's a little bit of me that okay, so one, we have to celebrate 21 years in real estate and in the business. I also had this moment of a very clear moment of when we were both brand new, kind of walking into this world, and you were, just in this place of fresh and new and getting rolling and getting going, and I was too. And I look back at that, it doesn't feel like 21 years ago, Andrea. What happened in that way?
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Probably the same, since it was like a baby to us, it was probably the same. Like the days are long, but the years are short. And here we are.
Yeah, my goodness. Well,
it's a great way to look at it for the real estate career. It's like there's going to be those hard days, but at the same time, if you're not putting in the effort, all of a sudden it's a year, it's 2 years, it's 21 years. But you've also seen some really awesome successes over the years. Your life has obviously evolved, marriage, kids, all while still building this incredible business, which is so cool. And Garrett, you were able to see that entire journey too, which is fun for me because I get to kind of hear all of the inside stuff that you guys know from your relationship over the past 2 decades too.
Yeah.
So
and then Garrett and I have been coaching. He's my coach, and we've been coaching 7 years.
We've known each other for a very long time. It was about 7 years ago. I'm looking at my notes right now. But
yeah, we did a real estate installation together and tried to figure out what we were doing.
Yeah. I remember very clear when we first started, you were not 100% I'm in, let's do this. I've been looking for a coach. I need something. It was more along the lines of I want to kind of check this out, see what this is all about. And we pretty quickly found our groove with each other, but you did not. You came in with a lot of I've got a lot of questions around this. I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. I want to make sure this is a good use of my time. And I think that actually leads into a good piece of kind of who you are, is that you're very protective about what gets your time, what gets your attention, you don't just sit there and say, I've got all the time in the world, but you've never been that way. I mean, I got to know you before you had kids. And you've never been this like, I've got all the time in the world. You're very, very, very protective with it. Where did that come from? Has that just always been a gene of yours, or?
I think so. Yeah, probably, because any sport or anything that you could always be involved in with school, I was in everything. So I feel like my entire life I've had to time block and set my boundaries for what I had the capacity for.
Yeah. And with you again, and it was fun. Once we found our groove, you could just, I think once you showed that was a comfortable environment that was going to work for you, you were just like, all right, let's go. And it was very fun to watch you just kind of like go all in, which I think goes back to your connection with sports. And if you're going to do it, go all in and show up and be there. So very fun, very fun.
So Andrew, you have this. So speaking of time blocking, since you brought it up, I love time blocking and scheduling and systems and all that stuff. Obviously, very important for you. So you've been in the business over 2 decades. You're mom of 2. Your husband is building and running a great business too, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But let's go back that 7 years ago, because you'd been in the business at that point 14 years.
Yeah.
Right. But you're like, hey, something's got to change. I assume at that point too, you were still pretty much referral business, strong in that, very relationship based. But what was the thing that was going on where you're like, hey, I need to make this next decade even better? And tell us a little bit about that moment.
Sure. I just believe in constantly growing and being a better version of yourself. And I felt like at that point, my career was great. It was wonderful. I felt like I was doing a really good job, but I knew that I probably had blind spots and I could be doing more for my clients and I could be doing more for myself and my life. And so I wanted to find something that wasn't, I don't need accountability. I am very good at holding myself accountable, but I needed something that would shift my mindset and help take me to the next level. And Garrett was that.
I was going to say, I don't think we've ever had a coaching call where we've come on. I'm like, hey, you said you're going to do this. Did you actually follow through on it? You're more along the lines of like, yeah, we got that going. Like, we don't need to talk about that because that's just going, that's happening. And Matt and I were just talking about accountability before we jumped on the call here, and is it really what people need is accountability? And we were talking about, Matt, what was the word? It was
encouragement.
Like a lot of people need the encouragement and the drive more so than the accountability. And you're a prime example of that.
Well, and I like that you brought that up, Andrew, too, because like a lot of people think that hiring somebody to help you grow is mostly accountability. And it's like, that's something that you can have systems and tools and for. Now that can be there if people are looking for it, but clearly you were looking for something a whole lot more growth mindset, new strategy. So what then transpired over the next 7 years? Like, what did you change? What did you focus in on? Because your life also changed a lot over those 7 years too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if it's okay with you guys, I'll just talk numbers really quick. Just
kind of put it all on the table.
So at that point, I was consistently hitting like 300 GCI for like 4 or 5 years. And it was like this hump that I could not get over. And it wasn't necessarily the GCI that I was looking for. It was, how can I just help more people? And I actually go by sides, so it's kind of weird for me to do GCI. Just sides is more motivating. It's an easier thing for me to say that is how many families I helped, not.
So how many sides was that 300 then?
It was probably like 20 sides consistently. Because 14 years ago, house prices were different, and then I just wanted to be able to push it. So, but I was scared too. I didn't know that I was scared too, but when Garrett and I first started talking, my palms would get sweaty and I would get like nervous. Like, what is he talking about there? Like, how am I going to hit those numbers that he believed I could hit? I didn't yet believe that I could do. But now together, and shifting my mindset, we have definitely passed those numbers. And every year since I have been coaching, I have consistently increased my sides, my GCI. This will be my first month ever in my career that I will hit 200 GCI in 1 month.
Whoa. Congratulations.
That's not bad.
So thanks,
amazing.
Garrett.
Well,
And how many sides is that now that you're like this month? How many sides is that just in this month alone?
It's 8.
All right. So
Incredible. So almost half of what you were doing before in 1 month. That's incredible.
And again, like housing prices have increased.
For
you know,
sure.
like all of that has to help with that. However, that
helps with the GCI.
Yeah,
that doesn't help with the sides.
I was going to say, housing
correct.
price doesn't.
It's a decent amount of capacity for sure.
Yeah.
So I want to go back real quick to when we were kind of like pushing the limits a little bit, and because one of my number one rules with working with people is that your goals have to be my goals, and I walk a fine line a lot of times of saying, but I see something that maybe you don't see, and what does that look like, and how can we get there? And there's always this dance that has to happen, because I can easily blow you out of the water where you're like, I'm not comfortable. I'm not enjoying this. I don't want to come to these coaching calls because every time I get on, he's telling me we're going to do something that I don't want to do. And I'm always constantly like checking your pulse and seeing where you're at. And I remember very clearly where you're like, I'm getting like, my palms are getting sweaty. I remember you saying that on coaching calls. What for you was it that allowed you to kind of take that next step to say, okay, I can see now myself doing this. I can see myself opening up these doors. Do you remember what kind of happened around that?
A lot of it, I feel like, are just the habits that I probably got away from when times got busy that we got back to. Mm-hmm. So my affirmations, my gratitudes were a huge piece of changing my mindset that we worked on a lot. And then also, I feel like when we started talking, you helped open my mind to all of the people around me that support me and love me and also believed what you believed. I just, sometimes it's hard to see in yourself your potential. It's really easy to see it in your kids. It's really easy to see it in your spouse. It's really easy to see it in the people that you love. But it's hard to look in the mirror and see it all the time. So when we started talking and you saw in me all of the connections that I have in the community, all of the referrals that I could get from even just my family being in real estate, or being surrounded by a lot of commercial people in my life, it was easier to start to put into a lovely spreadsheet the amount that I could do.
So let's I want to kind of expand on this opportunity for business around you, because you have a term that you have said. I learned it from you, and I've talked with many other people about this, just the way you look at your database, the way you look at your people. And I think it came out through COVID the strongest, where you said, I'm just going to love on my people. That's all I can do. I got people that need my love. I got people that need my energy. And I'm just going to love on them. And let's just see where this all falls. It's not about business. It's not about surviving through COVID where we're all locked down. You just said, I'm going to put myself on the back porch in the sun with my computer, and I'm going to love on my people. Obviously, that's a core piece for you. It always has been as long as I've known you. And by the way, you bleed that energy. Everybody who knows you, I know a lot of people that know you, and they know that from you. That resonates with you. Where did that come from?
100% my parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. There was my dad was in Rotary growing up. So there was never a month that went by that we were not volunteering or part of a nonprofit charity event giving back to the community. My mom was the mom who would pick all of us up. If we had soccer practice at a different field, she'd pick us all up and she would have literally snacks and drinks for all 8 kids that would pile in the car. So it's just who my parents were. And I am very grateful that that is the example that I was given. You take care of people and people will take care of you.
I love that. And I want to highlight too, Garrett, like of the interviews we've had recently, that is at the foundation, some level of giving, of loving on people. Like that is a thread that is people have different systems. They have different ways that they turn that into business potentially, but like that is awesome. And Andrea, kudos to you for also just taking that in and then deploying it in your world, because there are people who have parents that are like that and they don't deploy it. And also the other way around, people who learn it through themselves. And so I think that's amazing. So how now have you taken that? And
I mean, I look back when I started and everyone talks about building your database. I mean, I was 23 trying to figure out like, how am I going to start doing this? And, so I went to what I knew and I started going to every charity event I could find. And I felt like if I was at those, that I would be surrounding myself, going back to mastery, I would be surrounding myself with people that are like-minded. And so you keep running into the same people at every charity event. So then you start to meet all of those same people. And then you're surrounding yourself with people that are also having a giving heart and are full of gratitude. And those are the clients that I love to have.
I was going to say,
that's a really good tip for new agents. I mean, so many people are like, oh, I'm young, I'm in my 20s. My people aren't buying and selling houses. Like, well, go serve, go get involved, and you're going to find the people. Because I would imagine too, Andrea, you had a pretty good sized database. I mean, families in real estate, like you probably had a lot of friends, but you're like, hey, I need to even expand this even more.
I did, but I was so young that sometimes in those circles, they want to have somebody who is more experienced. So I needed to, one, prove to my database that I could do it. And I felt like, anyways, being young, right? You're always worried about perception. So I was like, I'm just going to go to what I know. And it's to help people. And eventually it'll all come around. And
there's only so far that, that's Mr. Schaefer's daughter can only go so far.
Ryan's sister. Yep.
Yeah, that only goes so far, and then you got to prove yourself at some point in time. I've watched people in your situations that have had incredible kickoffs in their business, and people go, where in the world did they just come from? Why? Well, they have a family that's in the business, but you do need to show up and prove yourself at some point in time, and you got to be able to back it up. And obviously, you've done that over all these years.
Thank you.
What was it? Because like, what did you learn then in terms of, okay, when you have the opportunity to prove yourself, to build that trust within a business aspect now, what did you learn then that you deployed that you now carry with you today?
Well, when I started, it was, our market just started going down. And so you create amazing habits because you have to, like for survival, you have to start doing all of the things the right way. So I became very consistent in my business, as well as my customer service was incredible. I mean, I'd get one deal and I was all over it. And it helped build these really amazing habits for me to show up at every moment during every transaction, no matter how many transactions I started getting, because it was the habits that I already created.
So
I feel like that was kind of it. And I will say that my toughest client to date has been my brother.
that's usually the way it works.
Of course.
Yeah, and he fully admits it. However, he sings my praises more than anybody to other people when referring me, and everybody knows him well enough to know that he doesn't give those lightly. So once I was able to prove to him, I mean, my dad's always going to believe in me, but once I was able to prove to my brother, it was great. Like, he's a decent, consistent referral base for me.
Looking at your journey with real estate, it's always interesting, and I always look kind of like the waves that we go through in the real estate industry. There's certain points when people start, and you get kind of on this easy gravy train, and the minute the market changes, everybody goes like, those people a lot of times go, I'm out. Like, this is not what I signed up for. This is not the business that I wanted to be in. And then there's the other times when you have to build your business in a down market or a shifting marketplace where you go, hey, look, this isn't falling into my lap, and you build incredible systems. And when we both got started in real estate, we kind of got started right at a time that you could have easily fallen into that 2005, 2006 major bubble of like, throw that home on the market, it's going to sell, don't even worry about it. You don't have to price it right, just get it on the market. To then going into 2007 and watching 2008, 9, and 10, you've now seen a couple cycles. That we went through that cycle. We were not working together at that point in time. We went through the COVID cycle. And obviously, we've had a couple others since then with interest rates and other changes that have happened here recently. What have been your biggest takeaways about seeing some of those marketplaces where all of a sudden it's like, we got to really get back into what we know, what works. We got to really get back into the systems that are going to carry us through this. We already talked about loving on your people, but what else have you noticed in those times of going, this is not just going to land in my lap and just be given to me right now. Like, I got to show up. What do you rely on for your systems that allow that to happen?
Well, one, handwritten notes.
Mm-hmm.
I know that sounds very simple. It is. It really is that simple. Those I feel like make a huge difference for people because it is a lost art and not everybody still does that. I also just do random gifts for people, or I do the whole, when I'm in my car, I mean, I am always on the phone. Like, my phone dies by about 12, like noon, lunchtime. I have to constantly like plug it in because I'm always on it. I might need a new phone, but I'm always on it. And so it's just calling and being so consistent and showing up for people. I do random gifts to people. I'll show up. I'll just run by their house and drop off candles. I'll send them flowers. I have a client who's really sick right now, and she's closing on a house this week. So I sent her soup and salad and bread and cookies just to be like, here's for your whole family. You don't have to cook. Just let me take care of them today. So I think it's just doing things that people won't forget that you did, but you do it because that is authentically me.
Well, so I've got this moment that's kind of circling around in my head right now because I feel like this whole aspect of doing this because you love on your people, the business will be a byproduct of it. That's just a great piece of people are going to need your help around that. One of my best examples that I remember from you is a handwritten note that you wrote to one of your builders' wives. Who was involved in charity work and helping out in the community. And I share that because I always tell people, it's like, when they're like, oh yeah, I write handwritten notes. And I'm always like, but do you write notes that are impactful, that will change somebody's day, change somebody's world? And they're like, well, no, but I do the activity. And I think one thing you've always done really well, Andrea, is you've always taken whatever the situation is and said, let's not just do it in a normal level. If we're going to bother to do it, let's do it at a level 11. That's our world. Yeah. Sorry. Can you just go back to that handwritten note really quick for a second and just share that story of what happened around that? Because I think it's a prime example of how you approach systems in your business.
Yeah, I just told her that whenever she walks into a room, she literally is just a ray of sunshine and she lights up the whole place. And I feel very grateful that I know her and that I get to be at these events with her. And I have so much fun whenever I hang out with her. And I just thought that it was important that someone shared that with her. She took the note and posted it, hung it right outside their door to their garage, so she could read it every day because it made her so happy. And then the next time I saw her, she showed up with something for me. She was like, this is my favorite place to get facials, and I just wanted you to have this treat.
Wow.
So I think if you write from your heart and not just hey, it was nice to see you the other day, or I drove by your house, that was great. If you really like think about people and why they're special to you, that's way more impactful in a note than just checking in.
Loving on them.
That's amazing. So, I mean, knowing the what, and this is incredible, and we can see the results that come from these actions. How do you prompt yourself to do this? Like, do you have a routine so that, like, I mean, you have a big database now, so being able to focus in on this one person for these moments, like, do you review your CRM? Is it a weekly planning session? What is your habit that helps you focus on these people so that you can, spend this time writing from the heart?
So I do have a licensed assistant, and she will pull every month everybody whose anniversaries for their home is that month. And so that is the month that I do all of my unsolicited market analysis. I call them home health checkups because I stick in like different things that they should do to check on their house, as well as Garrett and I had to reframe that because I don't like that term unsolicited. Just so we call them home health checkups.
That was a turning point, though. I remember when all of a sudden you're like, that I can get around, that I can do. All of a sudden it was one of those like, well, now we're not just going to do these. We're going, like we're going to do those.
Yep. So in those, I at least have a note to every family when I'm writing those, like, wow, can you believe that you've now been in your house for this long? Here's the equity that you've built. So I don't just do like a general market. I mean, I do a general market analysis, but in there, I write a note that is very intentional. And then I'll be like, I'll talk about their kids in there. I'll say, I saw that you posted something about soccer the other day. Like, you go, like, give him a high five for me, And so I try to make a personal connection in every note that I write in my market analysis. So I at least get everybody's done in that month. And then from there, if there are specific people that are just like stand out on my heart for that week or day, then they'll just get a random note just because.
So is that like a reflection time that you have?
My list for everyone in my database for every single month on their market analysis that I provide.
And so then do you take like a reflection time for the extra people, because you look at the list of, okay, here's everybody for this month. And then at that time, you're like, okay, who else can I love on?
No, it's really random, Matt. I wish that it was far more strategic, but it's not. It's, I'll be driving, and if I am thinking about somebody or some sort of event, or then I will just talk to text and send myself a text, like, send this person a note about this. And then when I get back to my office or my computer, then I'll get out my note cards and I know exactly who I'm going to send certain things to because I was looking at the sun or a car passed by and it reminded me, or a neighborhood. And then, or if I saw a dog that I know was similar to somebody else's dog or whatever the case is, then, it will spark something, but I talk to text while I'm in my car a lot.
That's the habit I was looking for, because I think a lot of people have those moments where they think of people and then they're like, oh yeah, I should talk to that person. And then it just flows away. Yeah. But you've built the habit of, okay, in that moment, I need to record it so that I can then come back to it, because if you didn't, then you'd be back at your desk handling whatever's in your inbox at that moment.
Yep. So my sweet assistant, I either do it to myself or I send her a text. But usually if I send her a text, she has the note card with their name on it on my desk. So she's pretty on top of it.
Talking about being efficient. So I want to transfer over here a little bit, because we've talked about, here you are right now set up for a $200,000 month.
Yeah.
We obviously have heard in the last 20 minutes here that you know how to build a referral-based business. You know how to love on people. You know how to take care of them. You know how to pour your heart in so that when real estate happens in their world, they're coming to you and saying, hey, Andrea, we need your help. We haven't even touched on marketing, which we're not even going to go into, but you're super consistent. We have a nickname. Andrea refers to herself as Spamdria sometimes because so many postcards will show up, which I absolutely love. Makes me so happy.
We're going to have to touch on that at some point because people need to get over the fear of there's too much stuff.
Oh my gosh. I called
Spamdria, Matt. I am all about the postcards, my friend.
I called Andrea one day because I was sitting in my car. I had gone and received my mail, and I'm going through, and I'm like, Andrea. And I called her. I'm like, okay, what are you doing? She goes, Spamdria? She means Spamdria, hit your mailbox? I was like, yes. But it didn't bother me. You got great stuff going out. So we can maybe come back to that. I want to shift over here that you've got also a massive world outside of real estate. And this is one of the reasons that we wanted to have this whole interview with you was to talk about what it means to be a mom in this industry, running an incredible business. But you've got two girls that you are dedicated to. Like I will say, in this amazing business you're running, you are also one that'll say to me very quickly, I don't sacrifice my time with those girls and story time. And when we talked last night and you're like, you're getting them all tucked in for bed and things like that. Tell us a little bit about this journey of being a mom. And this is a broad question right now, but I'm going to let you run with this. Being a mom in this business and balancing this out, because when we first started, there were not two little ones in your world.
No, there weren't. Well, everything that I do in life is very intentional, I feel like. That included, they were a long journey. So when they came along, I went through IVF for 5 years.
Those were great coaching calls. Those were great coaching calls, by the way, when you were doing it.
So I'm very grateful for them, and I will never, ever, ever take them for granted. So I definitely time block because of that. I will never sacrifice picking them up from preschool. I will never sacrifice being at anything. I don't answer my phone at all for any of our dinners. All of my clients are very aware that between the hours of 6 at night until about 8:30 or 8:45, I will not be reachable unless we're negotiating a deal and it's that time sensitive. But I tell all of them, nothing's that time sensitive. As long as it's by 11:59 p.m. that day, we can get it done. And all of them also know my story. And so they are very kind to me about it. And they understand that, especially right now, they're 1.5 and 3.5. I am in the thick of it with being very, very hands-on. And so they know that the time will pass, but I'm also giving incredible customer service. I truly do. And I can never not be reached. If they shoot me a text and I know that they really want to get a hold of me, I have a watch on and I'll just talk to text and I'll say, I'll call you back in an hour. Will that work for you? And they're fine.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing bath and I could see bath time and I can see them calling over and over, I'll just give them a heads up like, hey, is it all right with you if I get back to you in an hour? I'm doing bath time right now. My hands are wet. I can't talk. And they're like, absolutely. It's more just they need to know that they're being heard.
And I would imagine with your systems, like you probably have a lot set up where if that's happening, that is the like urgent stuff, because it's not just like, hey, we just want to review what we're going to go see this later this weekend. Like that doesn't happen in your world because of your consistent customer service as well.
Correct. And I can likely 9 times out of 10 get a hold of everybody throughout the day before I get home. And then if I can't, those people, truly all of my clients know that time at night, I just usually am not available. It just doesn't happen.
Well, a prime example was like when we were talking last night, we were sending texts back and forth and you're like, I'm so sorry. Like I didn't get right back to you. You're like, it was dinner time and getting kids in bed. And you're like, I just opened up my inbox, just to see my text and my emails, and I'm kind of getting caught back up. So once kids are in bed, do you find that that's a time that you kind of, I mean, if you're going to have these boundaries for yourself, do you find that's a time to kind of like open things back up and look, or are you done for the evening usually?
No, I usually take about 10 minutes or so just to like check back into texts or emails just so I can sleep at night.
Interesting.
Otherwise, I'll have like anxiety and wake up like, did I miss something? So usually I check back in just quickly. I'll review. If nothing's urgent, I don't get back to them. If I feel like somebody deserves a response, I will reply and I will get back to them before the night is over.
Well, and you made a comment about like all my people know. They know how important these little girls are. They know how important this life is that you've built. And you said very intentional. I think it's one of the biggest gifts of building a strong database and a referral-based relationship style business is that, and a lot of people don't get a chance to understand it until they built it, how much freedom it gives you. Because people do understand, and as much love as you pour into them, they appreciate that and they give it back to you. It's a reciprocal type of relationship. And as you said, amazing customer service. And as long as I know that my job, my world's going to get taken care of, it's very easy to be able to share that love back and forth and be like, Andrea's got this. She's got it. We're good. I don't have to worry about it. So done an incredible job with setting that up.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel really blessed. I do have a licensed assistant, and I know 9 times out of 10 when it's urgent, people want to talk to me and not Amber as much. However, if they can't get a hold of me and they do reach out to Amber, if Amber sends me a text after hours, I know that I need to get back to somebody. And so I definitely let people know that too.
Interesting. So if you get something from her after hours, that means there is something going on that needs your attention.
That means someone is not just blowing me up, they're blowing her up too.
Well, so let's bring her into this for a second. I have another question too that I'll come back to. So many questions. This is wonderful, Andrea. So Amber, licensed assistant, like how is that structure set up, and what are the rules, the boundaries, the responsibilities, so that she can support you while also running her world too?
Yeah. She really has free reign. I don't have any specific hours or anything for her. She shows up for sure Monday through Friday. But I don't care if she works from home. Whatever she feels like doing each day, we fully trust each other and we are just really on the same page because she gets it done. She's been with me 3.5 years now. And she's just super talented. She knows, I just went on a vacation for my niece's wedding, and I was texting her while I was at the beach, and I was just like, can you check on this? And she was like, already done.
Well, and the trust level with Amber is that she wasn't like somebody. I remember when you brought her into your business, it wasn't like, oh, I'm looking for an assistant, so I'm going to go out and put an ad out there and hire. You guys had a relationship before. You knew each other before. You knew what you were getting into and saying, hey, this is somebody that I trust and I can bring in. What was your relationship prior to that before coming into bringing in the fold of real estate?
Sure. So she owned a beauty salon, and COVID happened. And so she was doing my nails for 12 years. And then COVID happened and she had a break, and she was like, gosh, my body hurts. Like these are long days, bending over, doing people's hair, standing all day, doing all of those things. So her husband owns a skate shop. And so she was like, I think I'm just going to take a break and go work with him for a little bit. And I had just come back from my first maternity leave, and my assistant was like, at the time was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. Kind of a lot while you were gone. And I said, no problem. So then I was in there and I was talking with Amber, and she was saying she wasn't going to come back, that she was going to be closing the salon, and she was sorry, but I needed to find somebody else to do my nails. And I said, well, when you get tired of the skate shop, how about you just come and work with me?
Yeah. And
I said, you are so organized. You've run your own business for so long. People love you. You build rapport with everybody. All of those things I can't teach you, but I can teach you real estate. So I felt like if I looked for the core things that I believe that matters, organization, details, customer service, kindness, I know she has a great heart. I felt very blessed to be able to get her. And she was like, really? That sounds a lot more fun than working with a bunch of skateboarders.
So the stars aligned and that worked out well. And at the same time, you had to teach her, you had to bring her up to speed on what real estate is. And there are activities she is responsible for. So you don't have the boundaries in terms of time and stuff. And so you hired based on character, personality, which I think is something that a lot of people overlook when they're hiring somebody. But she also now understands your systems and processes, right? So behind the scenes, there's, your listing processes, your buyer processes. And I would assume now she has a responsibility over certain elements or all those elements of that so that you can focus on your relationships. Would that be right?
Absolutely. So when I take a listing, I just put it on her desk and she knows, and I will write out the timeline of how I want everything to go and when it's going to go live. And she just takes it and runs with it, with everything. She creates all of the marketing pieces. She orders everything from staging to photos to videos to measurements. She takes care of everything. So, and then she sends out a timeline to both my clients and myself. So we're all on the same page and I know what's scheduled.
Love it.
One thing I want to point out too, Andrea, is I've had the chance of having phone calls with Amber, and every once in a while, like I get a chance where somebody that I'm coaching is like, "Hey, can you take a call with my assistant, and we'll work on different stuff, whether it's mindset or different systems or whatever whatever you're like, hey, can you just kind of talk about these types of things?" And I will say that I talk to a lot of assistants that it's a job. And they work up, they show up, they do the job, they go home, and hey, that's my job. Amber respects you at such a high level, and I think it's really an important thing is that every single time I talk to her, I can watch her saying, I want to do better. I want to show up at a level because Andrea deserves that. This is what she pushes Amber to kind of like raise the bar to that level. It's really an impressive working relationship that you have where she really does want to go to battle for you. She wants to make sure whatever she does, it's at Andrea's level, almost to the point sometimes if she doesn't feel like she can do it at that level, she's like, I'm not touching it because I don't want to hurt what Andrea's built and her reputation and what she's about. It's really impressive how much she wants to protect you and take care of you. And I think it's one of those, like, if you're going to get a really good assistant, look for somebody that will take care of you on that level.
Yeah. I mean, she knows that I look at her like a little sister. She knows that I want so many great things for her. Mm-hmm. And so we always every year do, our goal setting, and I want to know what her goals are, not just for her to help me with my goals. And so I think it's super important. Sometimes people are just funny when people are in different roles and don't respect people if they're not at the same role that they are. But we're all people. And she is just an amazing human. And so I want nothing but great things for her. And she feels that from me. And so I get that same respect in return.
I love it. That
needs to be echoed. And anybody who's thinking about hiring needs to go back and hear what you just said, because so many people will say, I want to hire somebody. I'm going to tell them what to do. These are my goals, and I need them to follow this process, not in a malice or aggressive way. It's just that's the way it works, right? But it's not, yep. Right? It's understanding what their goals are, and also give you more credit too, Andrea, for having a vision and goals that are big enough so that also Amber's goals can fit within that. Right. And I think that's what really develops that relationship. And when you find a great personality too, then those things just work so well. You're also able to find that person a lot easier too. I tell people, if you want to find somebody who's great, be the great person that people want to work for and want to work with. And you obviously unlocked that. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
I do want to go back to the relationship thing here, because you mentioned that your people know your story, know your girls, and you also have a very high level of referrals that come in now. These are people who are coming to work with you who don't really know you yet. So what do you do? What's part of your process to develop a relationship with someone quickly where you're going into this relationship because of business, but I'm assuming you come on the other end, even if they're not going to be best friends, there's some level of personal connection there. So what are kind of some of the things that you go to when you're meeting a referral for the first time, you're getting introduced, that helps you break that barrier from I'm just here to be your realtor to I also want to know about you?
Well, it's always good to start with who sent you the referral and why did they ask, or why did they suggest that I'm the one that helps you? And they'll tell you right away, well, I was told to come to you because you're going to get the job done. And I'm like, well, what does that mean for you? Is that the time frame? Is that the quality of marketing? Is that like, what is it that means that I'm going to get the job done? And so then, they go into a lot of those details, and then it just depends on that person. You can either connect through the referral, which, I do a lot of times. I'll be like, oh, like, so how do you know that person? And, oh, we walk our dogs together. Oh, I love dogs. What kind of dog do you have? And so like, we just build rapport easy. And then I always say, okay, well, if it's all right with you, I would love to come out to your house. And it's just the first initial stage. And from there, here's the process and how it's going to go. Does that sound okay with you? And so I always am constantly letting them feel like they are the ones guiding the process, even though I'm setting up the process and asking them questions.
I love that. That's perfect. And I love how you like the way you tie that all together is really great, particularly connecting with the person who referred you. And you said something that a lot of people don't think about, which is the reason why you're getting referred is, oh, because Andrea gets the job done. Most people are like, oh, because Andrea's so nice, or, she has a really good Instagram account or whatever. It's like, no, Andrea gets the job done, which at the end of the day, if you want to make it in this business, you still got to get the job done. And a lot of people lose sight of that. And so I think if you have that as your referral base, and everybody listening, if you're getting referred or people are coming to you because they're saying, I hear you're the person who can get this done, you're doing something really right.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, thank you.
Well, so I want to transfer here again now, because you've got this incredible business you built, incredible, what we've gone over here. We've got you in your journey of being a mother. Is there anything else you want to share about how you make this business work and being a mom and balancing this out? I feel like we've covered a lot of that area. Is there anything we're missing?
I don't think so. I was just giggling a little bit to myself. You guys were talking to me about a podcast that you had previously, and how this particular mother she sounds like Superwoman, because she homeschools, grinds her own grains, does all of these things. And I was like, oh, I Instacart, I have a house cleaner, I have a full-time nanny, I have a full-time assistant, and my husband is beyond hands-on. Like, he is a unicorn. So I have a lot of help to be able.
And that's what I'm actually happy we went back to that really quick, because you do reach out and bring people in to help take care of the things that, we talk about Instacart. Instacart is one of the best creations that was ever been invented out there, because you talk about like not necessarily the best use of your time is wandering, even though it's like my time that I like rest my brain is wandering around the grocery store for some reason. But it's not a great use of time, especially when you have other things on your plate that are so important. So I love that you just shared that you have no problem with hiring out the things that need to get taken care of. And I think with being able to balance out and run an amazing business, your business allows you the income to be able to say, yeah, we are hiring that out. I don't want to do that. But let's talk about Guy for a second. Guy has been building this incredible business, and I want to dive in.
Smile Andrea gets when you just bring up Guy's name.
Oh,
she's
yeah.
Like glowing.
He's amazing.
I've had the chance to meet Guy through you. I remember when you first started dating Guy, because that's how long we've been together, and we were going down that route together, and then trying to figure out, do you take Guy's last name or do you keep your old last name? I remember that coaching call. We're well beyond that now, and Guy's building an incredible business based around QR codes. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that, but want to talk to you also about how you have taken QR codes and used them in your business. And I don't know if you would have done it if it wasn't for Guy and Guy's world and what he's around, but it just kind of like opened up this door for you that you're like, oh my gosh, I got free reign to like play with QR codes and how can we use these? And there's some realtors that are massively leaning into them and going, this is an amazing tool. And there's some that are going like, well, I'm not doing QR codes because they're dangerous, and whatever you're doing, you open up there's that world over there. You've had great great luck with these. Let's talk a little bit about how you effectively use QR codes. And I don't even know where to start right now, because I'm sitting here going, like, we got listings, we got open houses, we've got, different flyers, postcards you got going out. What's the best thing that you've been able to put a QR code on and make you work for you?
There's a few, but I would say with sign writers, first of all, have been really effective. I don't have to pay for brochures. It's great. So it saves on all of that. And then I can track them. Well, so One QR, my husband's company, is his QR codes. The difference is his are secure. So I don't worry about people taking them. And then you don't have to buy a new sign writer every time, because you can change where that destination goes every time. So when that property sells, I get that same sign writer back. And then I just know I need to put it on the next one. But the cool thing is that instead of having brochures out there, everything is trackable. So every single week, Amber sends out an email to my sellers, and there's a market update and a marketing update. So the market update that we send out will have how many scans that they've got on their property website, videos, photos, floor plans, etc. So they know exactly what people are looking at, and then we know what people are looking at, so we can do effective marketing. If people are taking the video tours, then I know what I need to be putting out there social media wise. If people are looking at photos or a specific photo a lot, we can track it, and then that's the photo I can use in my marketing. So it's been helping with a lot of ways that way to be more effective. I use them. I just recently started doing this. I have a couple builders, but also vacant stages. And I've been using QR codes along with AI. So you can use AI to do virtual staging. And there's a couple different ones out there. And if people are asking you for it, I can send you the ones that I find to be the most effective. But you can use that to vacant stage. And so in new construction, I've been having 3 different QR codes. So farmhouse style, modern style, or traditional style. So people can scan it, look at that room, and then hopefully the furniture matches the style that they would like to see. So it's been really fun. It's been so cool to just play with it and try to get more creative with how I can use the QR codes. 1, for my business, but 2, also, if I'm using it in a specific way and Guy talks about it, then I might be helping another agent use it successfully too.
So this goes back to the difference of accountability and you just taking and running and doing things. I love the progression that you talked about we talked about on our coaching calls of how you've gone through staging property, because you've always been a huge proponent in I get properties staged. A couple months back, you said, I'm running into an issue here where, we're staging properties, but they're not selling in 1 month. And we're doing a second round of staging. And all of a sudden, I'm watching the profitability side of this business now all of a sudden get seriously affected. And I got to come up with a plan around this. And I remember you saying, I'm going to use a QR code to virtually stage so somebody can see what this is. And I remember going, well, if you're going to virtually stage it, you could do different styles of staging at that point in time. And you're doing it. Look at that. That's so awesome. What's been the feedback from your builders and from your clients, if you've received any yet, of being able to see a house staged in different ways and different lights to attract in different types of buyers? What's been the feedback?
Well, it's been really good for builders, because all builders don't like to sit on homes. They don't like to sit on specs. So the issue, we were having this tug of war, because I like to put a house on the market when it's 100% ready and staged, and you walk in and you're wowed. Builders are like, can you not just get us a pre-sale? It's at drywall. People can walk it. They can feel the floor plan. And I'm like, they don't have the vision that you have. They don't see what's going to be happening. So it's been really effective that way to be able to compromise, I feel like, get the house on the market, and then for people to still go in and be able to see it finished. So that's been great. And we've been getting I mean, we've been getting a lot of success through that. So that's wonderful. And then just on vacant stages, if I feel like it's a property potentially where the seller and I are not on the same page with regards to pricing, this is a really easy solution for me to say, great, I can still virtually stage your property. We can do it this way versus me spending thousands of dollars and carrying costs because I know it's not going to sell super fast because we're not on the same page with pricing. And as much as I try, and they just don't want to do that, and they don't want me to refer them out, they just want to still use me, then I go down that route, and then it's a lot less cost for me, but it's still effective that I want to do everything that I have already said that I would do in my marketing plan.
I love it. And the being able to stage it and give it into different styles, so you can have a modern, you can have a farm, whatever you're going for there. I look at that as like something that if I was walking in to look at a property as a buyer, and all of a sudden I had this kind of level of being able to kind of customize my experience of going through that house. That is one of those things out of all the homes that I've been at looking at that day, it's probably the one that I'm going to sit and talk about with my wife and going like, that was so cool. Like that was so neat that we got a chance to do that. And it's totally different than any other home that they potentially were standing in that day. Do you find the click-through rate on those or the scan rates on those are pretty good? And I mean, obviously you've just kind of been getting into that.
It depends on how many showings that property gets. The scan rate really comes through my sign writers and then through my print through my print advertising and postcards. So I can track how many postcards are scanned. I put QR codes on everything. It's really effective so like if I do a just sold postcard and I put my QR code on, it'll go to my website for all of my sold listings. If I do a just listed, it'll go to my website for all of my new listings. Mm-hmm. And then if I do a print piece in a magazine, I have a couple clients who are 2 editors in town, so I am committed to print media with those sweet people. So if I put a QR code and that property sells, because you always have to put it the month prior, then it's amazing because I can change the destination for where that QR code goes, and it doesn't just get lost because the property sold. It goes directly either to my website or sometimes I'll put it to new listings. So people can still scan and get.
That's really important for people to understand about how you can use QR codes and how you use them for yourself, is that you can change the destination where that goes when somebody scans. Like you have an interface on your back end of your business that you can go in and say, you know what, I don't want that to go to that property anymore. I want it to go to my website, or I want it to go to a different point. It's got to be incredibly useful for you because you're not having to recreate and redo stuff all the time.
Exactly. Or, like a lot of, any builders will have like inventory sheets and they constantly have to reprint them all the time. We've started talking to some that just use the QR codes. Yeah. Because then it constantly updates and just goes to their website.
How about open house signs? I know you've talked to me about how you've used those on open house signs really effectively. Tell me how you do that.
Well, instead of buying like 10 open house signs because you want to have signs on busy streets, and then it takes you 30 minutes to set everything up, I'll put an open house sign that's big enough with a QR code, and then if someone scans it, it maps them to my open house. I also, through his app, you can set notifications. So if somebody scans that open house sign, I'll get a notification while I'm at the open house. And so likely I know that somebody's coming. That's 9 times out of 10, somebody comes. So I'm prepared, and I'm not just like hurrying to the bathroom and hoping nobody walks in, or sitting on my computer or on the phone talking to somebody. I will be prepared when someone walks in. And so I'm ready to make sure that I do everything I can to sell the house.
Nice. I love the direction aspect of it because I see it all the time. Open house sign. I'm like, I don't even know where that open house, where does that go? Right. Now, obviously if you're driving probably not the best to pull out your phone and try to scan, but most
Sure.
people who are out wanting to go to open houses, there's a passenger who's going to scan that and be like, honey, let's just follow these. It's only 2 minutes away. It's like traveling the highway and like you see the exit and you're like, oh, cool. Like one of my favorite restaurants I can stop. And then you get off the exit ramp and it's like 2 miles and you're like, 2 miles? Why couldn't you told me that before? And like now they just scan it and they're like, oh, cool. It's only going to be 2 minutes. Let's go take a look at this house and
I
look at how beautiful
usually,
this house
Matt, will
is.
put them like on busy streets at like stoplights,
Perfect.
so it's
Yeah.
easier to scan if somebody's stopped. Like I won't just put, and then I'll have a couple sitting in the neighborhood that might not have the QR code that just lead them to
'Cause then they
there.
know they're
But
getting
I don't have
close.
to put 10. I put like 3.
I think it's amazing because it's also, it stands out differently. There's another agent that we work with who does his full sign in front of the house as a QR code, where people can scan it and get information just like you have. So what is, this sounds awesome from a user perspective and how you've been using these QR codes and how you're sharing results with your clients in terms of click-throughs and things like this. What has this done for you in terms of saving you time and efficiency and also seeing performance on the back end on just helping you sell homes faster or helping buyers, and if even you're using it for that too?
Sure. So I think it's most effective that my sellers love to know 20 brochures weren't just taken out of their box or ruined with weather. I'm giving them actual data, which is helpful. And then it's not just data from the sign writer. It's data if I did a print ad from them, if I sent out just listed postcards for them. They're getting all of this data so they know how many people have actually been looking at their property. So for me, when I say I'm giving you maximum exposure and I will prove it, I can prove it.
That's huge. The proof, right? Because you can say like, yeah, like I've actually been talking to a lot of people lately about views and saves on Zillow and looking at that number because like these are actual users. Like this is good data versus like, hey, our general website has this traffic. It's like car counts in front of a commercial space, which is great to know that there's people traveling by, but who's pulling into the parking lot? And that's exactly what the QR code is telling you is like, this is how many people that are getting off that road and coming on in, which that's
and
great data.
he's starting to work and we're playing with it a little bit on heat mapping just so that we know like exactly where the people are coming from that are scanning. So it's going to help me with my advertising dollars for those properties if I'm using AdWorks to get more clicks online and views, then I'm going to know exactly what zip codes and what locations I should be putting more dollars for that specific property into, which is going to be great for me too.
Do you really
I'd rather, if I'm going to spend money, I want it to be effective.
Yeah, really get to fine tune where your dollars and where your time is being spent. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go down the whole rabbit hole on marketing, but I do want to just ask you one question about dollars because a lot of people ask, Garrett, we get this all the time. How much money should I spend on marketing? So about approximately what percentage of your revenue do you reinvest into your marketing programs, be that, postcards, online ads, all that kind of stuff?
Well, that's a really good question. I am not the analytical type like my dad is, being he's a CPA. However, I can tell you
15,
that I probably
10.
spend, a couple thousand, I mean, not including staging, on every property for, I do a lot of online advertising these days, right? And then I do, the QR codes have actually saved me quite a bit for my print with brochures and stuff. And then I still do like photos, videos, measurements, all of those things. So I would still say it's a couple thousand per listing that I do. Buyers are not expensive.
And then you have your automatic marketing, your postcards and all that stuff. So, I mean, would it be fair to say 10% to 15% of your revenue going into that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I think is because like when you start saying all those things, a lot of people go, oh my gosh, ads get so expensive. And it's like 10 to 15% of your revenue is not a ton of money when you start to look at it, particularly if you can start to identify the efficiencies. That's what I love about the QR codes is you actually get to see, oh, this is actually working. Let me reinvest in these places versus continuing to spend money over here where I have no idea what the results are. So
my clicks on my website have massively increased since I started implementing QR codes into all of my print and my just listed. So my website has jumped up significantly when people search online, which we all know is helpful.
I think it's funny, Matt, how many people will bite into like, oh, marketing dollars and like but at the same point, the average real estate agent will throw money out the window at marketing and like, well, we're going to blanket and canvas this entire neighborhood. We're going to do all this stuff. We're just going to, and they just throw money out and then wonder why there's nothing left at the end of the day. But when you have to talk about it and you have to analyze it, they're like, oh, I don't know, that seems really expensive. Where if you can pinpoint it and get it going into a place that's okay, every single dollar is being used as effective as it possibly can. It's like, let's not worry about, I mean, obviously you always need to worry about the cost in running a business, but as Andrea, as you're saying, it's like, look, I'm not on the analytical side of this. I'm not penny pinching. I'm not trying to figure it all out to make sure that we're going to be profitable at the end of the day. Those dollars are being used well and that are effective.
I just feel like if I'm going to be spending thousands of dollars on a website because I want it to look beautiful, then why wouldn't I help promote the website?
Yes. Thank you. I tell people, like, listen, if you're not going to have a way to get people to your website, don't even bother having the website at all. You don't need it because you're not going to come up on search, and so focus on other areas unless you have a method like you do to actually drive people there and use it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Love it. Oh, so good.
So we have covered so much. Andrea, like this is incredible. Is there anything that we've missed today? I remember we were kind of setting up for this. I'm like, there's a lot of stuff we have to talk about. We have a lot of paths. Is there anything we missed?
I don't think so. No.
Well, so I'll ask you this question. Well, one, if people want to connect with you, let us know what the best places are. But two, speaking to the parent with young kid realtors out there. And I know you have a lot of support. You've built that system. Like, what would be a piece of advice you'd give to the agent who's like, I got young kids. Yeah. This is hard. What would be the word of wisdom?
Wake up early enough to take a little time for yourself in the morning before you get everything going. I set my alarm. I have so many alarms on my phone for one, just to time block. I do it by setting an alarm. It helps me better. If it goes off, then I'm on to the next thing. I also do it so I don't forget to go pick up my kids when I'm supposed to. All of those kinds of things. So time blocking, setting alarms, and it's okay to ask for help. And it's okay to ask for grace from your clients too. So if you say, just explain what's happening with you. Like, we're all human. They don't expect you to be perfect, but they just expect you to have good communication. So I think as long as you communicate what is happening in the moment for you, if you say, listen, I'm just trying to get dinner on the table for my kids. Is it okay if I call you back in an hour? Just asking for permission. No one's going to tell you no.
I love that. That's perfect.
Well,
and where can people find you?
People can find me. So you can email me. You can text me. You can go to my website. My email is atuell, and that's TUELL @thegrouppinc.com. My website has my phone number. You can also submit something through my website. Any of those things, and I will get back to you.
And what's your website?
AndreaTuell.com.
Perfect.
Easy.
Easy peasy.
You can ask Garrett and Matt. They know how to get a hold of me.
Yes, you can always ask us. You could hop into our community as well, where Andrea exists also. So if you guys haven't checked out Life at 1010s, go to lifeat1010s.com. You can join the 11 Circle. You can join our starter membership. You can inquire about one-on-one coaching, which is what Andrea has been involved in with Garrett for over 7 years now. All of those things exist. Andrea's in our world there, and you can come join us there and connect with other great people just like Andrea as well. What else do we need to cover, Garrett?
We're good.
What did we miss?
We're good. This has been awesome. I always enjoy my time that I get to share with you, Andrea. You bring so much light into the room, so much positive energy. It does not surprise me that you've built the relationship referral-based business that you've built, because people love you. I can go talk to anybody that knows you, and they light up when they get a chance to say your name or to talk about you. So you've done an incredible job, I would say, of being a good human on this planet. And I want to say thank you. So
Thank you, guys. Thank you both. I feel the same about you guys.
Well, thank you, Andrea. Appreciate you joining us. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Drop a comment if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on audio, head over to YouTube and just drop a comment below on what you took away from this episode, because it's not what's taught, it's what's caught. And I know there were so many things to take away from this conversation with Andrea, and we'd love to hear what it is for you in particular. So go to YouTube and drop it there. And if you're not yet subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You can hit the little bell notification. You'll get up to date when new episodes drop, which is every Monday and Thursday. And we might have some new stuff coming for you on YouTube as well that won't be on the audio platform. So you're going to want to be subscribed over there so that you guys can catch that. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.
thanks, everybody.